As a writer, I must admit that sometimes your mind just goes blank. You just have no ideas. You can't think of any new stories. No fresh ideas of any sort. No matter how hard you think, your creativity just isn't clicking. When that happens, and really even when it doesn't happen, you always revert to getting inspirations and cool ideas off of others. Not copying them, but inspired. And you know a story that legitimately always gets me amped up to think of fresh new ideas? Left 4 Dead. Both video games. Left 4 Dead will forever be an iconic masterpiece in the world of entertainment and is such a great game to get your creativity going. Why exactly? What made this game popular then, and even now? You're about to find out why. Left 4 Dead is the only video game I've played that feels like it has various endings, yet it's also the most simple game to play, and the most simple story to comprehend. It's as easy as, the Earth has been infected by zombies, and you and a group of survivors must find a safe spot. Shoot zombies that get in your way, and survive. Okay, simple enough. But, what makes this story interesting is you just don't really know how it all truly ends. You know the survivors are trying to find a safe spot and rest in hopes that the zombies die out and the world feels safe again, but it's up to you on what you think happened to not just the survivors, but the world after the final mission of both games. Why should we care about the survivors anyway, you may ask? Let's be real. People buy this game to see if they can survive in the real world of zombies, not because they desperately want to know who this old man named Bill is or anything. Well, Valve knows that, and because it's a short game with a straightforward story, why complicate the survivors? Why not make it easy to understand how everyone is without having to know too much of their backstory? Bill is just the old man smoking his cigarette leading the team. Lewis is always uplifting his team. Zoe is the young jokester. Coach is a charismatic leader. Ellis is a talker. Left 4 Dead knows you're here to be immersed in the world of zombies, but as a bit of a surprise, gamers secretly kinda like these survivors. It makes the game a little more memorable when you can't help but chuckle at Lewis grabbing pills.
Grabbing pills.
Seeing Bill smoke his cigarette that just doesn't ever die out. Ellis cracking bad jokes. Coach being Coach. It's sort of goofy in a way how basic these characters are, but if they were too developed and had too much lore, the game would feel too crammed. It's easy to identify who's who, and because you secretly like them, you secretly care about how their ending goes. Now, with that being said, arguably the thing that caught most gamers' attention in this game were how cool and unique the zombies were. You weren't only slicing and dicing your way through just zombies. Oh no. You have to keep an eye out for a zombie that can strangle you from a distance with his tongue, or a zombie that legitimately jumps on your fucking back and takes you wherever he pleases. A zombie that you're convinced is just the infected Incredible Hulk. And maybe the scariest of them all, a zombie that cries. Yes, cries. And claws at you if you disturb her. It's arguably the most creative aspect of the Left 4 Dead series in which the zombies have their way of fighting back. They aren't only just these infected pawns that don't pose much of a threat. Some have abilities and truly change the game when used smartly. It keeps the game challenging and scary to know you can't just cruise by. And aside from gameplay, aren't the aesthetics something? How disturbing is it to look at the Charger, in which he has one beefed up arm and then this other arm just flops around? The Spitter might be the ugliest of them all, with green goop flowing out of her mouth. The coolest zombie, in my opinion, is the Hunter, in which he hides in a hoodie and crawls around hunting for his prey like he's a wild animal. Combine that, the aesthetics of the survivors, and now the world you live in. If it's not the zombies you were here for, it was the idea of the world you live in. An isolated world with people spraying on the wall that they need help. Or that all hope is lost. Cars flipped upside down, health packs, ammo, and other supplies always just laying down in plain sight just in case a group of 4 survivors happen to need them. And a safe house that has the same looking door. For some reason. You must complete each mission in different areas, an infected airport, an infected carnival, an infected swamp, and the scariest of all, you must fight zombies in a hurricane. Feels like it, at least. Those all make for two very cool Left 4 Dead games. As both a writer and fan, the concept is so simple, it leaves us with many ideas. What if we fight zombies in a hospital? What if we fight zombies downtown Times Square? What if we fight zombies in space? What if there was a survivor that was just a college kid? Heck, what if instead of 3 boys and 1 girl, what about 3 girls and 1 boy? And lastly, what zombie would you come up with? What's their ability? As a writer, I'll admit, I've actually been inspired by Left 4 Dead plenty of times in the past. I put together a group of 4 survivors one time, fighting zombies through a cemetery and on a spaceship. The zombies have abilities, but their biggest weakness is a beam of light. The biggest twist of them all is they're not zombies or vampires, considering they die in light. They're fighting a horde of aliens. And for my newest project, I'm putting together a man fighting his way through a horde of demons. Hopefully that short story will be finished this month, and if interested, I'll put a link in the description. I guess the bottom line of what I'm trying to get at here is, sometimes less is more. Left 4 Dead isn't a very complex game. It's a short game with such a simple concept, but a very fun concept. And because it's fun and so short, it leaves us wanting to see more. Will we ever see a Left 4 Dead 3? No. Will we ever see a Back 4 Blood 2, the recent successor of Left 4 Dead? Maybe. Either way, the fact that it always leaves us wondering when they'll come back shows how powerful their impact was. And with so many writers, including myself, trying to put together their version of an infected survival story, it shows just how creative Valve got. Thank you, Left 4 Dead, for putting together an iconic story and concept that will entertain and inspire others for many years to come. It's safe to say, the legacy of your game will never be Left 4 Dead.